What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Monday night's late night news roundup, where I'm going to give you the developing news on Alexander Isak as we now know what the injury was, what has happened, and potentially when he'll be back. We'll be discussing Jayden Danns, some mixed news around Mark Gay, and a potential return for Harvey Elliott. That and lots more to come over the next few minutes. As always, though, folks, we do want to know your thoughts, so let us know in the comment section. Drop a like if you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like I mentioned, I have a lot to get through, so let's get straight into it. And this was confirmed later this evening. Liverpool have confirmed that Alexander Isak underwent surgery today after his injury against Spurs. Isak today successfully underwent surgery on the injury he sustained on Saturday. The Liverpool striker was injured in a challenge in the process of scoring the opening goal against Tottenham Hotspur and had to be substituted. After diagnosis, an operation was completed today on an ankle injury that included a fibula fracture. Isak's rehabilitation will now continue at the AXA training centre with no time frame placed on his return. Now, if you looked at Physio Scout the other day, we went through a list of potentials and potential return times. Whilst we don't know the ankle situation and the extent of what that ankle injury was, the fibula part of it looks like it could be 8 to 10 weeks. There is news from Paul Joyce, though, that said the expectation is that Alexander Isak will play again this season. What that means for the transfer window, though, well, we're going to try and figure that one out now. Paul Joyce has said there has been interest in Antoine Semenyo, and he's been tracked by other suitors, including Manchester City and Manchester United, but it remains to be seen whether that interest is firmed up. Mark Gay is unlikely to move next month. Liverpool hope to sign him on a free transfer in the summer, and I've got more on that coming up in a moment for Fabrizio Romano. But just as we say, one door potentially closes, another door, well, could be reopening here. Again from Paul Joyce, but it's been, again mentioned far and wide. One potential move for Liverpool could be the return of Harvey Elliott, whose loan to Aston Villa with a view to a permanent £35 million switch has turned into a major disappointment. He's not played a minute since October the 2nd, and contact between the two clubs is now likely. Now, I was initially confused as to why the situation with Elliott came about as it did, and an Aston Villa fan very kindly said to me one day that when Monchi was still there as the director of football, he was the one pushing Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho to come in, but that Unai Emery was never really a fan of either of the deals. And of course, Monchi has since left, meaning that when Unai Emery's been there, of course, he doesn't want to play a player that he didn't want. Now, that's no good to Harvey Elliott. It's a World Cup year, and of course, the kid wanted to go and play football. I think this could be a win-win. Liverpool are really short in numbers at this point, particularly in attacking areas. We know Mo is off at the AFCON, and by the way, congratulations to Mohamed Salah, who scored the winner today in Egypt's opening game. I believe they came from 1-0 down and Salah scored the winner. So congratulations to Mo and wish him the very best for the remainder of the tournament. But Harvey Elliott, well, he could have a role to play here. Remember, we don't really have many players available. Gakpo injured at the minute. Isak out for the foreseeable. Obviously, Mohamed Salah away for the next 4 to 5 weeks of the AFCON. So there are spaces there. What happens with Chiesa? Well, that remains to be seen. There was a report a while ago from Romano that said if Chiesa isn't getting much game time by, let's say, 20th of January, then maybe he may push for a move. I just don't see a world where the manager plays Chiesa. He may play him against Wolves out of absolute sheer necessity because we've nobody else available. But at this point, I do think it would be better for everybody involved if Liverpool could find another attacker, one that the manager would play, and then we allow Federico Chiesa to move on. A manager said something the other day that wound me up, and that was basically that some people think that Liverpool have endless money. Well, how about not paying 10 million quid, which we have done so far in wages, for a player that the manager doesn't want to use in Chiesa? That's money that could have been spent elsewhere. Why wasn't he moved on in the summer? Why hasn't he been playing since then? These are things, and these are the types of bits of double speak that wind me up about Arna. So let's sort this situation out. There have been reports from Sky today to suggest that Liverpool could be looking to strengthen midfield, attack and defence, and they could be looking to move those forward potentially to January. On Mark Gay, Fabrizio Romano said this: The feeling of those around Mark Gay is that the most likely outcome is a move in the summer on a free transfer. Now, also, we had Kaveh Solokol of Sky saying earlier on that he believes that his information is, let me read it out exactly. I've heard that he, Mark Gay, may have a gentleman's agreement with Liverpool that he will sign for the club. That was followed by Lewis Steele a couple of days ago who said it. But there was somebody who mentioned this a month ago. I don't know who it was. Some handsome, bald Irish fella. Remember what I said that to you? That was my information. Now it's Kaveh's information. Seems to be Lewis Steele's information. So I do hope that Mark Gay does become a Liverpool player. It makes sense for Crystal Palace to hang on to him for the summer if they're willing to get no money. But for Liverpool, I'd like to see a world where we go in to bring him in January. But at least the reporting today looks like it's more likely that it will be in the summer. We did ask tonight, though, on the late night agenda, we ran a poll that said, if Liverpool brought in no centre-back in January, would you be angry? And it was about 89% said, yes, we would be angry. So whatever about Mark Gay, Liverpool have to go out in the January market and bring in a centre-back because we are walking a tightrope. We really, really are. Before we finish up, I want to give you guys the officials as well for the game coming up against Wolves. They've been named. Remember, it is a it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, Saturday 27th of December. Your referee for the game is going to be Simon Hooper. Your referee assistants will be Adrian Holmes and Simon Long. Fourth official, Adam Herzig. Michael Salisbury will be on VAR and James Mainwaring will be the backup VAR. So I've gone through pretty much everything, but there's one player whose name we haven't really spoken about in a while. That player's name, Jayden Danns, and there could be some good news there. They could ease some of our attacking problems. Jack Lusby, who I believe writes for This Is Anfield, said Jayden Danns is working on the grass again with the striker due to make a full comeback within the next 2 weeks. Now look, I don't know whether the manager's going to think that Jayden Danns could be ready to come in and make an impact this season. But like I said, it's a numbers game for us at this point. And if I'm trying to put together an 11 right now to play against Wolves, knowing who we know is out injured, well, there has to be a world where either Fede Chiesa or Rio Engamoa gets into that 11 just out of sheer necessity because of numbers. So let me know where your head's at with all of this. What do you think happens with Antoine Semenyo? Will he go to one of the Manchester clubs? Or will Liverpool now look to finally make that move? Somebody asked me tonight, if we brought in Antoine Semenyo, would I see that as the end to any potential hope for Michael Elise down the line? And the answer is no. Because, again, my understanding is that Salah won't be going anywhere in January, but I'm not sure what happens in the summer. Michael Elise could come in and be the Mohamed Salah replacement longer term. If we've signed Antoine Semenyo, I still think he gives us versatility across the front line. And like I said to you guys in the coming weeks or the previous weeks, I would see Semenyo as being the player Chiesa could have been. And what I mean there is the minutes that Chiesa could and should have been getting could go to Antoine Semenyo, and he could be a very good option for the manager across the front line. So that's where we're at for now. Connor will be here in the morning with a news update. I'll be here in the evening with a news update. And of course, I will see you back here for the late night agenda tomorrow night, 8:45 as always. Appreciate your support. Look forward to reading your comments, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.